Good afternoon. My name is Alan Koh. Today's health talk is on Parkinson's disease and how energy medicine serves to support our body's metabolic processes to improve this medical condition. Well, Parkinsonism is a neurological syndrome characterized by four of these, mainly tremors, hypokinesia means not enough movement, rigidity that can be causing the hypokinesia, very rigid, stiff body, and postural instability. Even standing, you can go a bit crooked and not very stable. So all these are Parkinsonism problem. What are the causes of Parkinsonism and all these symptoms that I mentioned? Well, the underlying causes of Parkinsonism are numerous and diagnosis can be very, very complicated. The most common cause of Parkinsonism, those four or more symptoms that I mentioned earlier on, is the neurodegenerative condition called Parkinson's disease. So Parkinson's disease gives you these symptoms. Certain other medical conditions also give a similar set of symptoms. So differential diagnosis becomes quite important. Well, other causes of such symptoms can be brain cell toxicity to much harmful chemicals in our brain cells. It can also be caused by a few metabolic diseases and a handful of non-Parkinson's disease neurological conditions, the most common cause being side effects of Western medications. Well, how does electric energy treatment helps to support against Parkinson's disease? Well, look at which part of the brain is responsible quite truly about Parkinson's disease. And that will be the dopaminergic nerves. Nerves in the brain that produce dopamine, a neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter means a substance produced by the brain cells that transmits across electricity across from one nerve cell to another. So this treatment charges all dopaminergic brain nerve cells from a weak electrical activity in the range of 30 to 50 millivolts to a very healthy 70 to 90 millivolts across the cell membrane. And at this healthy range, there's an enhanced absorption of oxygen and nutrients into the dopaminergic nerve cells, and also an enhanced outflux or outpouring of harmful chemicals and acidic wastes from inside the cell to outside the cells. And that means that anabolic metabolisms, the process of building dopamine, neurotransmitter substance, which is a big substance relative to the nutrients, from very basic nutrients. And so the production lines have got to improve to produce more dopamine because really Parkinson's disease is quite simply a lack of dopamine neurotransmitter being produced. So improved metabolisms require enough oxygen, requires enough nutrients to run the metabolic processes and being raw materials to form the enzymes that speed up the production of dopamine and also the actual large substance of dopamine that I mentioned earlier on. And because toxins are usually trapped and accumulate in cells over prolonged periods of years, if we do not have enough good electrical activity across the cell membrane, then electric energy treatment will be very, very important because it charges the cells fully, more toxins clear, more acidic waste, harmful chemicals come out. And the less toxic burden on the production of dopamine is, the better it will facilitate improvement of Parkinson's disease and its recovery. Well, most Parkinson's diseases are caused by oxidative nerve degeneration, and because electric energy absorbs more nutrients, particularly now I'm talking about the antioxidant nutrients to reduce oxidative degeneration. And once you take off the part of the degeneration, the ongoing healing processes will be quite uninhibited. Because if you got the same amount of improvement and the same amount of damaging effect every day on the brain cells, it will not work very well for good recovery. So now electric energy is taking away the damaged part so that also electric energy during the repairing side would be not interrupted. Magnetic field treatment, on the other hand, synergizes beautifully the electric energy treatment because electric energy treatment improves blood circulation. And our blood supplies to transport oxygen from the lungs and nutrients from the digestive tract to the brain cells as one of the destinations. And therefore, more being transported, then more will be absorbed by the electric energy treatment. And as toxins come out, if they're not drained away, in the sense of electric energy treatment, they only come out. If they're not drained away, these toxins can re-enter the dopaminergic nerves and disturb production of dopamine again. So it's very important to use magnetic field treatment at the same time as electric energy treatment to drain away the harmful chemicals that's coming out during electrotherapy treatment. Far infrared is another treatment, another energy treatment that's particularly good for inflammations. Now, any part of our brain cells can be inflamed. Like the nerves itself, called neuritis of the dopaminergic nerves. It can be the veins coming out of the brain being inflamed in the area of the dopaminergic nerves, and that will be called phlebitis. Or can be the arteries going into the dopaminergic area of the brain that's not transporting blood very well because they're inflamed, and that's called arteritis of the arteries. And also there can be encephalitis of the brain cell proper, meningitis of the membrane surrounding the brain. All this can be inflamed, or any part can be inflamed, and therefore leading on to poor recovery from the medical condition of Parkinson's disease. How far infrared can reduce inflammations, which are swellings, water retention in the area, and sometimes got pressure, heavy-headedness, headaches, and so on, caused by this inflammation? Well, once you do far infrared against the area, it will improve the deep blood circulation and therefore able to drain the swelling, the excess fluid in the area better. And as something from being enlarged, going back to normal, the pressure against the nerves that cause pain can be quite dramatically reduced. So that's why far infrared is important in a reduction of Parkinson's disease when it's caused by inflammations. Far infrared is also a detoxifying treatment. Therefore, more localized treatments can be removed, and therefore fatigue and all those headaches and so on can be reduced at the same time in the brain area. What about Thermomoxibustion? In fact, it's a marriage of two treatments into one. Thermos is the heat. When you touch something that's hot, that's the thermal heat. Moxibustion is the stimulation of the meridian points to unblock Qi channels. So let's look at the heat itself. When you apply heat to metal, apply heat to soft tissues, they will expand. As the blood vessels expand and dilate, they are going to transport more oxygen and nutrients to the area and drain away yet more toxins from that localized area compared to just magnetic field treatment alone. So the conditions will improve when you improve blood circulation to any diseased area or damaged area, especially those that's been damaged for quite a while. The thermos part can also help to clear some small blood clots and ease blockages of blood flow, and therefore further improving the recovery processes of the medical condition. And of course, reduction of swelling, like far infrared that I mentioned, is quite important too. Water retentions tend to retard any improvement processes of medical conditions. Then, as I mentioned, unblocking the Qi flow by the Moxibustion part of the Thermomoxibustion is very additional to further improvement. Qi is an additional support to energize brain cells for better repair and recovery processes. When you add all the four treatments together, there's absolutely no option but for the medical condition to improve. Thank you very much.